Hello, how's it going, everyone? It's Fantasy Filmball. Welcome in. My name is Matt. With me is Dylan. Today we are going to be discussing Sam Mendes's new masterpiece,
No.
Empire of Light. So Empire of Light, you finally saw it this week. It's, of course, Searchlight's number one priority, a lock for Best Picture, and many other categories. How can Sam Mendes miss? He just made 1917. You know, how can Sam Mendes miss?
How can he? I mean, I love Sam
Exactly.
Mendes.
It's a lock. But in all seriousness, if you've been following the race at all, you know that Empire of Light was very highly predicted at the very beginning of the year, and now is nowhere. It's being released in 100 theaters total.
It came to mind, though. It came to mine. So
yeah, it somehow came to
them.
yours. Exactly. Somehow made it to yours, even though it's nowhere else. But yeah, Empire of Light. I talked about it at TIFF. I think it's just the very image of mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
But Dylan, how did you feel about Empire of Light? Are you on the same wavelength as I am? I think you are.
Yeah,
based on your reaction.
I love Sam Mendes. I've been very vocal about this in the past. I think 1917 is the best movie of 2019. He would be my director pick for that year. I love Revolutionary Road. I love American Beauty. I've liked a lot of his work over the years. So I was very excited for this movie. However, once the plot description came out, I'm like, this just doesn't sound like the Sam Mendes that I love or the Sam Mendes that I know. And then reactions came out, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. And then you saw it, and you're like, yeah, this is bad. And then just over the course of the season, my anticipation went from all the way up here to dropping. And then now it finally came to my theater, which is crazy because even though I live the capital of my state and an art city, we don't get a lot of these indie type movies at my main local theater. But we got this one, and I was like, do I even go see it? Is it even worth 2 hours? And after watching it, it's not awful, but it's not good. Nothing here is really worthwhile. I understand if you love Deakins or if you love Reznor and Ross, but I think their work on this movie is just bland. The cinematography, I don't get why you would nominate this over a Nope or why you would nominate this over a Bardo, two other a little bit more divisive movies in this category, just because you want to nominate Roger Deakins or the score. I mean, Reznor and Ross are great. The score is, I think, very forgettable. They have better ones this year. And the acting here also was just not really it. I get people love Olivia Colman. She can do no wrong. I think she gives a pretty bad performance in this movie. I think Mikel Ward...
Sorry, don't just say a bad performance. Say what you messaged me after you saw the movie.
She has a Razzie clip. She has multiple Razzie clips in this movie. If you want to say Ana de Armas deserves a Razzie for being a movie you don't like, but her performance was something... give Olivia Colman one too. Give them both one. Mikel Ward is fine. I know he's a big TV actor. I've not seen him in anything else, so this is my introduction to him. He can deliver lines well, but what he's given to say in this movie is very uninteresting and non-engaging. And Colin Firth is a character, and Toby Jones is just kind of sleepwalking his way through that supporting role. And just this whole movie is just a definition of boring, mediocrity, something that is in one ear, out the other. And I saw this in between seeing Way of Water twice, and I'm glad because I got to make a little Way of Water sandwich and just forget what's in the inside.
Yeah, that's a nice way to wrap up this film, is to just go see Way of Water again, because for a film that's supposed to be a tribute to the cinema, it's not a tribute to movies, it's a tribute to the cinema as a place to go. It really feels like Sam Mendes does not love the movies that much. Whereas James Cameron, you can tell, I mean, Avatar is very much not a direct tribute to the cinema, but it feels like a love of movies. I mean, Damien Chazelle even admits that Avatar is the movies.
Yes.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, the thing about this movie is I don't think that this movie's bad, personally. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's mediocre. It's too inoffensive to be bad, which is saying something, because there are a lot of movies that I feel very strongly about one way or another, and at least they're making me feel something, whereas Empire of Light is just so in the middle that I don't feel strongly one way or another. I'm just like, yeah, this is a movie with a story and images and music, and it has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Sort
And
of.
there are actors on the screen, and the actors say words. And that is how I describe Empire of Light. But really, the thing that is so crazy about Empire of Light is that it's so impersonal. Like, Sam Mendes, you can tell that this was written in the summer of 2020 because the film tackles so many things that just feel like hot button topics that Sam Mendes has no connection to. It tackles racism. It tackles fascism. It tackles the movie theaters feeling like they're dying or whatever. It also talks about mental illness and isolation. All these things that were very hot button topics in 2020, but things that Sam Mendes clearly doesn't really care that much about.
I wouldn't even say
he decided to make a movie about them.
I wouldn't say he doesn't care. I would just say he doesn't have a personal tie-in, so it's all just very surface level.
Yeah, but he Olivia Colman's character is based on his mother. His mother suffered from bipolar, and so he based the character on his mother. But even that, how do you make something that feels so detached when it's personal?
Yeah.
That's so interesting to me because I don't know, it's detached is how I describe this whole movie. It just doesn't feel like there's a reason for most of it. But that said, I do really like Deacon's photography in this. I think his cinematography is great. I love the gold yellow tones. I love the production design. I love the score. I've said it before. I prefer this score to Bones and All's score. I think Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, it's not one of their best scores. I wouldn't put this near The Social Network or Soul or The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo or Gone Girl, but it's like a solid 7 out of 10 score for me. And I think that's how I feel about a lot of the film is like they're doing good work, but in service of what?
Yeah.
Why do I care?
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head early in your discussion right there of this movie is not good. It's not bad. It's just a movie. And I would much prefer something to be so bad that it makes me have a reaction. Kind of like The Sun was earlier this year. Because The Sun was so bad in a way that it made me invested, made me care. This is so mediocre, or I guess you could say bad in a way, but I don't care. And I would much rather, if I had to rewatch a movie, even though I gave this a higher rating than The Sun, I'd rather rewatch The Sun than rewatch this.
I agree, because I think I might, my opinion on The Sun might really change. Or even The Whale. The Whale, I'd say I am not the biggest fan of it. I like The Whale better than I like Empire of Light, for sure. But it got a strong reaction out of me. And this didn't. And the question that I'm going to end on, unless you have more to say, is if the people making the movie don't care, why should I?
Yes, I agree. And the question I want to ask you before we get out of here for the day is this the biggest Oscar dud of the season? Because I can understand the case for some movies, but The Sun was never as high as Empire Light was. Bardo could be, but Bardo could still get a nomination. But this looks like, to me, at least 0 nominations, and maybe its best shot is cinematography, but still, that's probably number 8 or number 9, a final ballot, where Bardo, like I mentioned, is going to get into international or possibly get into international, and The Sun is completely dead, and pretty much those are the big 3 Oscar duds of the 2022 season.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think that there's any Oscar dud bigger than Amsterdam.
See, if we're going from when they were first announced, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But if we're going from the start of this season, I don't think many people were having Amsterdam near the top of their list.
That is true because Amsterdam was not predicted this year by anyone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you are completely correct that the big 3 flops of the year are The Sun, Empire of Light, and Bardo, which kind of illustrates our point that we made earlier in the season, which is that you can never trust a director who made a previous Oscar film to make another one, because it doesn't always work that way. Yes. Studios don't miss, directors do.
Exactly. Unless that director's name is Steven Spielberg or James Cameron. They come through.
They do come through. They come through every time. Spielberg has made some films that aren't great, but they still get Oscar love. Like The Post, I'd say is an Empire of Light level flop, but it still got nominated.
It still did. But yeah, overall, Empire of Light, we both think it's meh. What do you think out there? Is it also meh? Do you love it and we're just crazy? Or do you think it's so bad that we shouldn't even done a review on it? I'd love to know down below. But until next time, my name is Dyl.
And my name is Matt, and I'm going to be honest, Dylan, I don't think we're going to get any comments because I don't think people have seen it.
Yeah, that's true. My theater was empty.
It's rightfully so. And this is Fantasy Filmball.